What's up, you diehards, you degenerates, you lovers of defensive football? This is Josh Raymer, and we are back with another episode of the Big Three IDP Podcast. And I'm a little taken aback because Adam was not swinging his hat when we did the intro. There we go. And that's what I was fully expecting. So now, if you're watching on Periscope or on YouTube, all is right with the world. I am here with the aforementioned Adam Markham, Bobby Reynolds. Bobby, how are you tonight, man?
Oh, just great, Joshy. Just great. Good to see your smiling face this lovely Thursday evening.
I was going to say I'm smiling because you came over. You popped the broken wheel off of my mower. You mowed my yard while you're over here. You're just a hell of a guy, Bob.
You're dadgum right, Joshua.
Well, I thought you were coming over to look at it, and then I'm at the pool. I'm with the family. I'm getting ring notifications like there's someone at your door, and I'm like, well, that's weird. I wonder if Bobby's over there. And then I look at the doorbell cam, and there's someone mowing the yard, and I'm like,
just me naked on my lawnmower.
That's right.
Don't mind me.
Listen to the Big Three IDP Podcast.
I got my boots on.
That's right. Addie, how are you, baby?
Yes, sir. Doing good. I need my yard mowed, Bob.
I'm coming, Addie. I'm coming.
Sir. Hey, I am too.
I did drive past, and you were out front in the yard with the mower last time I saw you, Addie.
Yeah, that was the first time we had mowed the yard because we got sod. And it was pretty. There's a lot of weeds.
You gotta let sod grow, right?
Yeah, you gotta let it grow for about a month and a half. And yeah, that was the first time Josh got to see us, mow our grass for the first time. That was a big deal.
Big deal. Big deal.
Yeah.
So we've got a really fun episode for you all tonight. We're going to be doing the AFC West preview. We're also maybe going to be talking, a little more about lawnmowers. We'll see how the night goes.
Sure.
We'll see how things unfold. But it's going to be a fun one. We've had, Addie, a great run here of some awesome guests on the pod. We had Connie, one of our favorites. We had Kyle Borgononi. We had Tom Kislingberry. I mean, it has been just in these past few weeks a great run of guests, but it's always nice to get back to the basics and do a Big Three episode every once in a while.
Right. Cut a little loose, get a little loud.
Oh, you don't need any excuse to do that. So tonight it's just going to be the three of us breaking down the AFC West. And for you, the listeners, we are going to try. We tried it with Kyborg and we failed miserably, but we're going to try to stay under an hour and 15 minutes tonight, fellas.
Yeah, Addie's got a new pod debut.
That's right. You got a date, Addie.
That's right.
So Addie will be recording the first episode of DF Triple S, the new DFS pod with Johnny the Greek. I think you guys are going to do sort of like a pilot episode, maybe even draft a team over on FanDuel. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we're the I don't think it's any secret. We're probably the two weirdest on our respective shows.
For sure.
So, I think why not? We need to get together and do something, the two
Absolutely.
of us.
It's going to be fun. We don't have a DFS pod yet.
Yeah.
I have a feeling it will probably lean heavily on the poop side of things.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of poop discussion, a lot of yelling. And really what we're hoping eventually IDP makes its way to DFS. And then me and Johnny are there. We're ready. We're going to help you guys win some money, baby.
Ready to
we're going to run your life.
That's right. One way or the other. Ready to crush Kyborg and his fantasy footballers DFS
That's right.
pod.
It's going to be competition. I'll be monitoring that closely.
That's right.
How many likes he's getting every episode and stuff like that.
Just furiously tracking it like multiple monitors deep into the late evening, early morning. Yeah, it should be fun.
Don't trust him.
Let's just let's layer another pod on top of this. This is a healthy obsession for sure. So let's get into some news here, Baba. We're going to hit some news, and then we're going to briefly touch on it may be the premier IDP league in the whole world, Addie.
Oh, you talking about Shark City, baby?
Shark City, baby. Addie pulled together some heavy hitters for our sleeper draft. These we'll get to the names here in just a bit, but needless to say, Addie, I don't think I've ever been put on tilt as quickly into a draft as we were in this one.
Yeah, I think once you hear the names we're about to drop, I think you'll understand why this is the guy that kind of put us all on tilt. He's known to do stuff like this. So.
He's wanting to give us a one-way ticket to Tilt City. So we'll touch on that in just a bit. But Bobby, why don't we start us off with some news here? What were the big news items?
Yeah, I know our boy Josh, he especially loves a little XFFL talk. But let's take an F out and get to the XFL. And I guess The Rock maybe, and you probably know a little bit more about this than I do, Josh, but is he a partial owner now? Did he buy part of it?
That's right. So yeah, he's a
Okay.
partial owner. There's another group that has invested with him. I think they bought it for like $15 million. It wasn't a whole lot of
Wow.
money. They bought it out of bankruptcy court.
Hmm.
So it is, The Rock is kind of the new Vince McMahon figurehead for this reimagined XFL.
So do you think it can survive under kind of the whole, the newer model that they're proposing?
So I think it has a good chance because I was talking to somebody else about this. The league, the play was fine. The play was not the issue. The issue is when you actually peeled back the layers was the finances. They did not have their financial house in order, which is really strange for a bunch of businessmen to not get that part figured out before they invest all this money into a new startup football league.
Mm-hmm.
So I think The Rock has got way more star power than Vince McMahon does right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think they already have some really cool ideas, doing a Hard Knocks type show, streaming potentially on Amazon or Netflix, get it out there on social media. I'll be curious to see what they do as far as where they put the teams. I think that will be a large determining factor in how the expenses play out, but I really think this can work if they get their financial house in order. I think COVID wiped out the XFL prematurely this time around, but there is a desire there for spring football. But if college football ends up moving to the spring, I don't know that spring 2021 is going to be the time to launch it. Maybe it's a spring 2022 type thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I've really never watched a whole lot of the XFL, so you're a little bit more knowledgeable about it than I am, Josh. I think a while back we had proposed that it would kind of be cooler if they brought it to some smaller cities, and not necessarily like long term, but if they could kind of make it like a tour almost, and kind of stop in some small towns and play it like a Western Kentucky, play at a Murray or something like that. It might have a little bit more of an appeal. But yeah, I don't know. I'm glad it's back around because I know it's good for PJ Walker kind of got a little bit of, he got signed out of it, didn't he? So I'm sure it's helped some dudes, but I don't know. It's entertainment.
Yeah, it's something to have on in the background. That's what I did on Saturdays when the games were on, or Sundays. I just had it on the background while I was doing like podcast prep or draft prep. So it's not something that I'm like studying or tracking closely, but it's just fun to have more football. I think all the nerds that were like, oh, of course it's not the NFL. It's not college football, but it's still football. It's something to have on in the winter when you're going through football withdrawals. Like, that's a good thing. So I'm glad The Rock bought it. I'm excited to see what he can do with it, and I think he'll make something of it.
Yeah, I feel like if anyone can save it, it's The Rock.
It's The Rock,
and he's gonna likely be the president here someday.
So. I hope so, man. He would get elected, like, no doubt.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
All right. So what other news items we got here, Bobo? A couple tight ends got paid today.
For sure, and I don't even know, there was somebody else who got paid too. Something like $190 something million in extensions.
Bills offensive lineman.
Yeah, Bills. Yeah, Bills tackle. Yep.
Yeah.
So Kelsey and Kittle both got some pretty primo extensions. I think Kittle's money was like $96 million. Am I way off?
No, yeah, that was what was reported yesterday. So yesterday there was this big story of the extension, and it was like 6 years, $94 million, but that ended up being like 6 years,
5 years, 75. So about 15 a year, which seems perfect for George Kittle.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And then I think Travis Kelce, so he got a 4-year extension onto his 2 years remaining of his deal. So I don't know,
like 35, 36 by the time.
Yeah, 4-year, $57 million extension.
Wow.
So not as impressive on the numbers, but because it was 1 year less than Kittle's.
Well, and he's 30,
Exactly, yeah. So he's going to get a little bit less at this point in his career. But for all intents and purposes, this keeps Kelce locked into Kansas City probably for the remainder of his career.
Yep.
And good for Mahomes. We'll talk about them later, but yeah, keeps Patrick happy probably.
Absolutely. Keep one of your favorite targets in town. Never a bad idea. So before we get into Shark City here, fellas, let's give a shout out and give some love to our Big 3 network pods. My podcast feed is lit up. I've got a lot to listen to once Bobby gets my mower fixed. So we've got, check them out. We are up to 6 We have 3 more launching within the next month, I believe, which will take us up to 9. But for right now, make sure you check out Mic'd Up with Mike Wohlert, our old buddy Mike, the first pod on the network. Bless the Knees, a Vikings podcast. The IDP Update with Joey the Tooth, Deep League Diving, and Defense Matters. So be sure to check out those 5 pods in addition to the big 3 IDP podcast. Give our guys some love. Give them a subscription on your whatever podcast app you use. Give them a 5-star rating and review, and enjoy those big 3 pods, Addie. They're churning them out, and it's some pretty good football content.
No excuse. No excuse not to win your leagues this year.
For real. We are giving you everything you need to win your IDP
It's all
leagues.
there.
It's going to
You're
be
welcome.
Yeah, Joey, Mike, Jordan, Joe's got you covered on the deep sleep. We've got you covered from literally every angle.
Yep. DFS pod coming.
That's right.
We're good, man.
However you want to win money this year.
We're the best.
That's right. Thank
Sometimes-
you, DJ Khaled.
Sometimes all I hear now is just Adam screaming. Anytime I think about the big 3 podcast network, of him just saying, I hope you enjoyed your precious podcast time because it's our landscape now.
Yeah.
It's
That was
true.
the best. That was one of my favorite endings to a episode.
That should be our new big 3 network tag at the end of every episode. Is just it's our podcast landscape now.
My alarm every morning gets me up, gets me going, gets me
Gets the
pissed
blood
off
pumping.
early. Yeah, great.
There you go. So, all right, boys, let's talk. Shark City. We are into, let's see, I believe we are wrapping up round 14 right now. So it is, I believe, 38 rounds. So we've got a while to go. I think I'm optimistic we'll finish before the season starts, Addie.
I think so. I was doing the math earlier today. I think we're going to be, just in time.
Okay. I didn't know you had actually done the math. I was being very optimistic, but that's good.
No, we're good. We're fine.
We'll be fine. So Addie, do you have the draft board pulled up?
I don't. I could probably tell you because I've been,
Just studying it nonstop.
well, just chirping on everyone.
That's right.
I'm
That's
trying
right.
to be a good commission, letting people know when they're on the clock. We got a lot of people that are newbies in it. Let's get into it. So Mike Wohlert, I'm just going 1 through 12 right now.
Let's see if you can hit it.
Mike Wohlert, Gary Davenport, me, Matt Schaff,
Yep.
Tom
There
Kislingberry,
you go. Ooh, can he get this one?
This is easy.
Jordan,
Jordan Raines, that's right.
Duchesne's.
Yep,
Alex,
Alex Duchesne's is in there.
Bob,
Bob, yep.
Sig,
Uh-huh. 3 left, Addie. You can do it, baby.
Johnny,
There you go.
Joshy,
Yep,
Joey the Tooth.
got it. So there you go. It's a 12-team league, super flex, IDP. We're starting just a ton of IDP players.
It's crazy.
Which
So
is great.
Yeah, so we're starting 4 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, 3 DBs, 2 flex. So a little bit of a wrinkle. But yeah, man, offense is just as deep. We're starting 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, 3 offensive flex, and then 1 super flex. So that's at least 22, 23 starters.
I think so, yeah.
And then we have benches. I think there's 38 spots total, so 15 on the bench. Then we got a lot of IR spots. So it's been a wild draft.
It really has.
Sigmund did the wildest thing I've ever seen. He took Darius Leonard at 109.
Yep, Darius Leonard at 109. So completely just threw us for a loop. And I'm looking here at the draft board. I believe that was the first IDP, and another one didn't go off the board. It looks like
He took another one.
Yeah.
so. Yes, he did. So he took Aaron Donald at the 404.
Yeah. Sig don't care.
Yeah, Sig was just
He wants to get his dudes, and he's getting the cheat codes. He's getting the guys that you want, the guys that have this massive upside, like Leonard and Aaron Donald both have. They have that advantage, over their positions.
that's
and
right.
That's what he said too. He was like, I can't believe that in a group of IDP guys, y'all let me get Darius Leonard, Aaron Donald, and then he went Chandler Jones. So
Yeah, right.
He's some pretty cheat code guys in the first 5 rounds.
Yeah, his defense is stacked.
Grabbed Khalil Mack as well. Fred Warner, Demario Davis, and Von Miller followed that up with. So,
But
Sig's
And
doing all right.
this is a league where we get 6 points for sacks. You get 1 point for quarterback hits. I think tackles are 1.5. Assisted tackles are 1. pass deflections are 3, interceptions are 6. So it is big play scored.
Yeah.
But man, it's been a lot of fun. You get out there on our Twitter account. We posted the link to this draft. You can follow along, see how it's going, see who's done what. But it's pretty cool.
It's a fun league. I've never been in a league like this. Like we said, you pretty much can throw your draft strategy and ADP out the window.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the board and I'm like, who do I want on my team?
Yeah.
And I'm not even worrying about, because Sig, it was kind of nice. Sig gave us all permission to be like, you know what? Screw when IDPs are supposed to go. Like, let's just jump in and have fun.
I think everyone was like, probably wanting to impress him, do well, and then he goes out and just does
does that. We're like, wait a minute, no, he's not supposed to do that.
I was almost like, did he mean to do that? Because I think he's one of the guys that's new.
He is, yeah.
So, but yeah, it was awesome. I told Josh, I was like, he'll be in it there at the end. I guarantee it. He's just, he's good.
He is very good. So we're just run down our squads here real quick, fellas. If anyone wants to check out the teams that any of the other guys have, you can check that out. Just check the Big 3 IDP Twitter account to see those squads for everyone else. But Addie, you're at the 3. So why don't you kick us off with your squad? You got your roster pulled up?
I don't. Bobby, you got yours going?
I do. I'll start off.
All right. Kick us off, Bob.
I drafted right before Sig at the 108. And so for the first 6 rounds, I grabbed wide receivers. Have never done that before, but value-wise, when you've got people around you taking IDPs, that's just kind of what I stuck to. So Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams, Kenny Galladay, Odell, DJ Moore, Tyler Lockett are my wide receivers, and they're all starting because we've got plenty of flexes. So that should be interesting. But then my running backs go Kareem Hunt, Cam Akers. My linebackers, Shaq Thompson, Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen, Mac Wilson, and then Brian Birds and Ifedi Odenigbo are squeezed in there as well. So I was a little anxious when I started seeing some of the early D linemen go, but getting Brian Burns in the 11th and then Ifedi still, he might have been able to hang on. I just kind of like him for this year, and the 13th was fine with me. But I know my Big 3 IDP boys were a little worried about Bob, we're in a draft with a bunch of guys that know what they're doing. You need to take a running back here soon.
Don't you embarrass us.
I can't pass up the value.
Bobby, we don't start all wide receivers. This is not a wide receiver super flex.
I don't know, man. I've never done it before, and I was just like, I'm just going to start all wide receivers in my flexes and just see how that goes. So
start them at quarterback, start them at running back.
We'll give it a whirl.
I did something similar the first 4 rounds. I was just looking at a bunch of different rankings, trying to get a sense of I've only done one other super flex draft. So I'm trying to get a sense of where do the quarterbacks kind of enter into the equation here. So I ended up going 4 running backs right off the jump. Again, just kind of the way the board fell. So I went Clyde Edwards-Helaire at the 111, then went Miles Sanders, Aaron Jones, and Jonathan Taylor in the 4th. Then I decided to jump in on the old IDP, as you keep whistling. I jumped in on the IDP side of things, took Nick Bosa, then doubled up on wide receiver, went A.J. Brown and DJ Chark. Went back to IDP with DeForest Buckner, grabbed Hollywood Brown in the 9th, and then went Trey Flowers. And then I just said, I want to get all the best DBs on my team. That's what I was talking about. Just get the guys that you want. I don't have really any shares of these guys.
You were thinking back to what I said on that 6, didn't you?
I was. Yeah, what if you just stacked the best DBs in the league on your team? And I was like, I'm going to do that. And we're going to see what happens.
Hey, I like it, man.
Yeah, so I went Trey Flowers after Hollywood Brown, and then I went Derwin James, snuck Levante David in there as my LB1, and then went Landon Collins and Budda Baker. So that is that's the list. And it's crazy enough, Jamal Adams has not gone off the board yet. Jabril Peppers actually went next at the looks like 1406 to Deshane's.
I about brought that up today there, Joshy. But I don't know, that may be more right until Jamal plays on the field, and then we're going to be like, dang it, he's still good.
Yeah, I'm taking probably Jamal Adams over Jabril Peppers, but
yeah, me too. But we did see today, Greg Williams made the little snide comment about how he's not going to be used as much.
Greg Williams hates Jamal Adams for whatever reason. Maybe Jamal Adams ate his lunch out of the fridge or something. I don't know, but it's just silly. Greg Williams continued sniping at Jamal Adams even after he's gone. Just let it go, Greg. Yeah. Get back to dyeing your goatee and just let Jamal Adams be, man. He's out of the building. So why do you got to say that stuff?
Joshy, being the indie boy, you're coming around a little bit on CEH. So let's go Dynasty 101. Are you going CEH or JT right now? He's thinking. That is disappointing, Josh.
No, I think dynasty wise is probably still JT. I
feel
think
like your heart wants to say CEH.
No, I think because this is a redraft league, so I'm stuck in redraft mode right now.
For sure.
But so for redraft, it's definitely CEH. But for dynasty, yeah, Jonathan Taylor for sure.
Yes, sir.
That is the correct answer.
He's special.
All right, Addie, you got your lineup pulled up? Hit us with it.
Yes, I do. Okay, so I was in the 3 spot. So it goes CMC, Patrick Mahomes. I go Saquon there at 103. Then Julio Jones, Chris Godwin, Adam Thielen. Oh, baby. That's a nice – let's pause on that for a second.
Let's just take it all in.
Woo! So then we get the QB sitch figured out. We get Thomathan Brady.
Tompa Brady. Little double squeebs there with Godwin.
Yes, sir. 5K Fitty Tutty's coming.
The new Drip King.
Yes, sir. Got that visor on. We see you, Tom. Get on my roster. So, Tom, then we go Aaron Rodgers. Then we go Cortland Sutton. This is 703. Zadarius Smith. That's my first IDP. He gets dual designation here, so I can start him at DL. Then I get AJ Green at 9-3, Devin Bush, Deion Jones, Justin Houston, Matt Go Get Ya Burrito, Eric Kendricks.
It's a nice little squad.
Pretty
Eddie.
pleased.
That is a very nice squad. There are some really nice squads though in this league. Like you look around because it not so much anymore. We're in a lot of leagues with guys who know what they're doing, but in your home leagues and stuff, you typically look around and you're like, oh, that guy's roster is net good.
Yeah.
But this league, you look around at the squads and you're like, yeah, these folks know what they're doing.
Well, and take a look at, I think I posted like the defensive linemen in order that, that they've gone. If you check out my Twitter page, and it's pretty right on the money. I mean, like I'm pretty on board with the way it's going. There hadn't been really anyone being drafted out of line.
Not really. Opinion. It goes Aaron Donald, Daniil Hunter, Joey Bosa, Myles Garrett, Cameron Jordan, Chandler Jones, Nick Bosa, Josh Allen, Chase Young, J.J. Watt, Khalil Mack, and Bradley Chubb because they get the DL designation here.
Pretty nice.
That's through 7 rounds.
I didn't take any of those guys. Either of your tweets, Addie. None of those were mine. That's ridiculous. My first one was Brian Burns, and he wasn't on there. So, yeah, fun stuff. There we go.
Well, the 8th round, we saw a big run on defensive line.
Hey, but you got your wide receiver you over there, Bobby. Something to hang your hat on tonight. Woo-wee.
Yeah, you'll definitely be the person that the door gets knocked on if someone needs a wide receiver.
For sure.
But I was trying to say, 8th round, you saw DeForest Buckner, Sam Hubbard, Carlos Dunlap, DeMarcus Lawrence, Calais Campbell, Cameron Hayward, and Zadarius Smith.
And you know good and well you was wrong for what you done taking Odo on me like that, you piece of trash.
That was mega hateful. I think
you done that in front of, in this league in front of you, embarrassed me in front of all these experts.
You embarrassed me in front of Sig.
I don't have Odell anywhere. I need to have him. Need to have him.
Boys, let's jump into a little AFC West review. Like I said, peep the Big 3 Twitter account if you want to see the draft board as it unfolds. We should be hopefully done by the time the season starts.
We'll keep linking it, no doubt.
No doubt. So check it out. Shark City.
Keep bleeding that thing dry.
Getting all the impressions and reach that we possibly can on those tweets.
Use those followers those fellas got.
Just leverage the hell out of them, baby. All right, fellas, let's talk some AFC West, and we are going to burn through. I'm giving us 12 minutes per team. That's it. That's all we got time for.
We don't need to each give our opinion on every guy.
Right.
We all pretty much are in the same. We'll call each other out if they're out of line. All right.
That's right. All right. So let's kick things off with the Denver Broncos. And as always, we're going to run through the starters and then hit the fantasy targets. Bobby, you did the work in the doc tonight. So why don't you hit us with these offensive and defensive starters?
Nobody wants to hear that, Joshua. You just do your job and lead us off.
I'd like you to read it off. I got to take a sip of water here.
One time crunch here, guys.
20 seconds in, Bobby. Go.
So I'll just do Denver, and then Josh can do the other 3. But offensively, offensive coordinator here, Pat Shurmur, Drew Lock, the quarterback, Melvin Gordon, starting running back. Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, and KJ Hamler listed as the starting wide receivers, with Noah Fant as the starting tight end. And then defensively, defensive coordinator there, Joe Woods. They run a base 3-4 defense. Mike Purcell there at D tackle, Drell Casey and Shelby Harris at D end. However, most leagues actually have Drell Casey there as a defensive tackle as well. Von Miller, AJ Johnson, Todd Davis, and Bradley Chubb listed as the linebackers. Justin Simmons, the free safety, as well as Kareem Jackson, the strong safety. AJ Bouye and Isaac Yayadom.
That's what we're going with.
Listed as the cornerbacks there. So, Joshy, take us into the offense.
Good job, Bobby. I'm proud of you, baby. That wasn't too bad, was it?
A little difficult, but that's all right.
Difficult. All right, so Drew Lock. This is, I'll give my take here. I said it earlier, and I'm sticking with it. I think he's Jacoby Brissett. I think he's just good enough to keep the team in games, not good enough to hold on to the job. He is set up to succeed. This team is loaded on offense, but I expect to hear the what is wrong with the Broncos offense think pieces by like mid-October. Now, could he surprise and be really like above average or even a stud? Absolutely. We have not seen a lot of games yet. I think we saw 5 games at the end of last season. I'm just not making that bet on Drew Lock.
Yeah, I mean, I like his swag. I like his toys he's got. I like the fact that he seems to be a young Jeezy fan.
He was you like him just rapping on the sidelines.
Sure.
That was it. That if you that clip had, be honest, if that clip had never surfaced, you're probably down.
Out.
You're
I'm
down.
out.
Yeah, down on Drew Lock. Bob, I think you had some good notes here on Mr. Lock.
Well, answer me this one, and this will kind of answer my question, but his cast of weapons is really why I love Drew Lock. He went 7 TDs and 3 interceptions. Who has a better cast of weapons, Drew Lock or, well, I'm going to say Justin Herbert because I think it's a matter of time. So which one of those would you rather have the backfield and the wide receivers for?
That's really tough, man. I think that's pretty close, honestly. Because you have Keenan. I like Keenan better as like the alpha wide receiver, tight end, Hunter Henry versus Noah Fant. That's
probably rather have Noah. I think he's got more upside.
But
you got Alberto behind him as well, so it's a package deal.
Hunter Henry finished like surprisingly high in tight ends ranks last year. Yeah. Tight end 9, as we'll talk about. He had that
one gigantic week, though.
Yeah,
he did. He's solid. I mean, but that's close. Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton and KJ Hamler. That's a pretty nice
offensive line, though. So the Chargers are still better along the offensive line. I'm pretty sure. Mm-hmm. I mean, Denver. I feel like John Elway's been working on that line forever. I'll look up like the PFF grades here while we're talking, but. Yeah, it's close. Probably still the Broncos, though. But it's close. What do you think, Addie?
I don't know. I think I'd rather have – I mean, long-term, I think I'd rather have the Broncos.
Yeah, with the young guys.
But, this year, I mean –
probably Keenan.
Keenan's really nice. Yeah. And Mike Williams really nice. I expect a big year from Mike Williams.
They've got some nice
Were you boys impressed with Herbert and the and the Chargers on Hard Knocks?
I will say, you can't tell much from watching him throw a ball into like a little shoot, but that throwing motion, that spiral, that looked good.
The onlookers, they was into it.
That was real nice. Yeah, that guy said he loved Justin's balls, so that's not awkward at all. Let's move on here, guys. We're 4 minutes in, so we gotta like speed through the rest of these guys. Melvin Gordon, Bobby, I don't think you're feeling Melvin Gordon.
No, I will not own Melvin Gordon. I just think that's going to be a muddy situation.
Yeah, I think he's a fine volume play. They paid him a lot to come in and be the starter. They clearly weren't happy with the Royce Freeman, Phillip Lindsay, two-headed monster. This is a year for kind of gross volume plays. David Johnson, Todd Gurley, Lev Bell. Just lump Melvin Gordon in there. Hold your nose. Pick whichever one you like best.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind Melvin Gordon this year. I think he's a really nice option if you're, looking to draft a running back in the 6th, 7th round. Good solid number 2 for you, I think.
Yeah. Hopefully he doesn't take a number 2 on your team, but
I think he's going to be good.
He's going to be fine. He'll be fine. All right, Cortland Sutton here, Bobby. How you feeling on Mr. Sutton?
I think Sutton's probably slipping too far in drafts. Right after the draft, everybody was high on Jeudy. Everybody was really high on KJ Hamler for where he was being drafted. But I think Sutton's slipping too far. Sutton's really good. Sutton's talented. I think Locke's going to be able to get him the ball. I think people need to adjust Sutton's ADP and grab him a little bit higher, as Addie did there in Shark City.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that was so tough, man. Some of those receivers late, like AJ Brown went like in the 6th round. Cortland Sutton, I took him in the 7th, but man, I was really pleased to get him there. I agree. I think he's the alpha of that offense, and I think he's just going to get better and better. I've been impressed with the workout vids I've seen this year. He looks like a beast, and I expect him to have the most chemistry with Drew Lock, so I like him the most this year.
Yeah, I was looking it up. So the Broncos are actually the better offensive line, according to PFF, going into this season at number 14. And then the Chargers are all the way down at, oh my God, number 30. So you have to count the offensive line as part of the offensive weapons. And so that definitely goes to the Denver Broncos, according to PFF, who know a lot more about offensive lines than any of us.
So Los Angeles has the 30th and the 31st rank offensive lines in football right now.
Jeez, yeah, not good.
Golly.
All right.
Something in the water.
That's right, Addie. All right, Jerry Jeudy. So I'm not going to be shocked if Judy's ends up being the wide receiver one for this team. I think he's the best route runner of all the rookies, and that counts for a lot. I feel like a lot of what the friction is for rookie wide receivers, A, it's the playbook, B, it's the route running and cleaning that up, because the ability to separate from these professional cornerbacks and safeties and linebackers and everyone else that's in coverage on these guys is route running. So I think Judy's going to have a big leg up in that regard. If you can combine his freaky athleticism and speed with that route running prowess, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be surprised. I still think it's Courtland Sutton because Sutton's more established, but I just love the raw talent of Jerry Jeudy coming in on this squad.
Yeah, I mean, Judy's going to have a chance to, eventually, I think, catch the most balls. He seems to be the guy that has the, 90 to 100 catch potential. But Sutton seems to be like the guy that has the high touchdown upside just because he's the bigger frame type receiver, But yeah, I like Jerry Jeudy a lot. I just think it's going to – they're just good for each other.
That's right.
It's a really nice compliment.
It's a Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs type of situation. I did say I'm down on the Broncos wide receivers as a group just because I'm not high on Drew Lock, but stash him and Jeudy in Dynasty for when, as Addie said, Aaron Rodgers comes in to town next year as the new starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos. A big bump up for them at that point.
It's going to happen.
So, Bobby, I know you are a fan of KJ Hamler, this next guy here.
Yeah, I think Hamler is going to be interesting this year. Rookie out of Penn State, which actually Deshaun Hamilton was too, I think. 5'9", 178, 4.4 speed. I think he could probably run the slot. And kind of the opposite of what you were saying, Josh, about you not being a believer in Lock, and I get that. But, man, I think you have to buy Lock later in drafts just because of these weapons. Like, even in short, intermediate, style passes, these guys are they're gonna have a lot of yak, and I think that's gonna help Drew Lock out. But yeah, I think Hamler's a super nice sleeper. Not only, probably some in redraft, but especially in Dynasty.
Yeah, if you're,
it was like a 5th round pick in our RSO league, right?
Who was that?
Hamler,
yeah.
Back of the 5th too.
That's very nice. So Noah Fant, we've talked about him kind of against Hunter Henry, but he's probably the weapon I'm most interested in just because the tight end position is so much thinner. We've seen it in all the drafts we've done. Wide receiver is stupid deep this year. So it's going to be harder for guys to finish top 24 or whatever designation you want to throw on them because there's probably 50 guys or 40 guys that have top 24 potential this year. Whereas tight end, oh my gosh. It's the path to relevance for Noah Fant. Like he could easily be top 12 at the position. I don't see any world in which Sutton or Jeudy are top 12 just because of the talent at wide receiver. So that's the guy I'm most interested in is Fant because I think he gives you more of a positional advantage than those other guys do.
Where do you think he finishes on the year?
Noah Fant?
Yeah.
I'd say back end, tight end 1, like somewhere in that 10 to 12 range.
Yeah, this feels about right.
Yeah.
I like Fant a lot too. What about Albert O, guy they brought in? What about this little stat? So Albert O and Drew Lock played together at Missouri. They played together 18 games. In those 18 games, Albert O had 17 touchdowns.
That is almost 1 per game, Addie.
It's a nice connection right there.
It is. And it's like, there's a reason the Broncos brought Albert O in. It's because they know the familiarity is there. and they, maybe he starts off as a blocking tight end. But did you all see? I just happened to have the combine on when Albert O was doing his workout. Dude was like a freak athlete, man.
He's a beast, man.
He's somebody to watch. I mean, I know I like Noah Fant, but yeah, Albert O.
They've just stacked that offensive depth chart, though. I mean, even running, we didn't even talk about Philip Lindsay and Royce Freeman, and so they're just stacked at running back, receiver now, and tight end.
I could see them running a lot of 12 personnel too, which would be fun with Alberto and with Noah. And then obviously you're going to keep Sutton and Judy on the field. That's dangerous. And you could run any of your backs, but I don't know. One of these notables in Royce Freeman, I've seen a bunch of, I don't know whether it's just like, off-season hype or whatever the deal is, but it'd be fun to float Royce Freeman's name in a trade. I would love to see him go to Atlanta because Atlanta really doesn't seem to have a whole lot of depth behind Todd Gurley. And I'm an owner of Freeman, but I still think he has some NFL appeal. He's not going to be great, but he's definitely serviceable.
Hey, Boobin, we see you. You're on it, brother.
That's right.
Love you, Jeff.
So I just, last note here on the offense, I would already own Philip Lindsay in our RSO league if he wasn't the league's highest paid running back, which is just always makes me laugh. Franchise tag guy, a lot of money. I think Philip Lindsay's supremely talented. I'm not giving up on Lindsay yet, but I'm not acquiring him because of the cost in our main league. So let's switch over to defense. We have -4 seconds to run through it here. So great job by us.
Sorry, Johnny.
Yeah. So let's hit Jarrell Casey. Bobby, lead us off here.
Yeah, I love this for Jarrell Casey. I didn't really realize until I got to reading into it some today, but he was kind of pissed off at the Titans. Kind of felt like they were throwing him out with the trash, I think was his comment. And good for Denver, really, because what did they give, like a 6th or 7th round pick for him?
7th round pick.
And Jarrell Casey's 30 or 31, so he's got that, Akeem Hicks grown man strength. I really like Jarrell Casey for this year, and I know that Denver had some struggles last year stopping the run, and I think Jarrell Casey would be great this year, especially if you're looking for, somebody who's just going to stack up some tackles for you.
Yeah, I said I love him as a back-end D-tackle 1 this year. Von Miller, this is a guy, the positional designation just kills him for me. I like him as a flex play. I'm just not super interested in IDP leagues, to be honest. I mean, you saw 79% of snaps last year, and he was the LB65 in our RSO league. So he's just one of those guys that's probably going to have those big blow-up weeks. He's a great NFL player. But I'm just not. He's not someone who's going to be on any of my IDP rosters.
He's a good option if you're in big play leagues. I think he's going to have a nice bounce back year. Yeah. I think Chubb being back healthy and then Casey, being added, that's going to be a great help to Von Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, Bobby, I think you're on the same boat. You like Von Miller this year?
Don't love him, but agree with Adam 100%. Big play. I don't mind him at all.
Yeah, A.J. Johnson. This is a guy that really broke out last year. He had finished as LB 49 on 69% of snaps. I have him as my LB 39 right now. I love him if you can get him as like your LB 4. That feels about right for me.
Yeah. I love A.J. Johnson. I think he averaged about 8 tackles a game once he got in there. So, if you prorate that out for the year, that's about 125 tackles. And he also gets big plays, too, unlike Todd Davis, who Todd Davis just strictly gets tackles. There's no extra stats with Todd Davis.
I was going to say.
A.J. Johnson will at least add some of the big play stats. He graded out really well on PFF. I don't have it in front of me, but he was top 10. So I love A.J. Johnson, man. And the wood chopper, man.
To the wood chopper?
That's him.
I love it. Yeah, Todd Davis is just a tackle machine, man. Just 134 tackles in 2019.
He gets slept on, too.
He played 85% of snaps, was the LB 27.
Yeah.
He's not sexy, but he gets it done.
Exactly.
He's not going to give you the big plays, but, man, he is just like a lunch pail kind of linebacker.
He knows how to fall on dudes.
that he does. It's a valuable skill to have. So, Bobby, who's this next guy we're going to talk about?
Yeah, Bradley Chubb. I love Bradley Chubb again for this year, especially in sleeper. We've talked about that dual designation, but people forget all the way back in 2018, Bradley Chubb had 12 sacks as a rookie. I am kind of optimistic too. They said that he's close to 100%. He tore that ACL, I think it was week 4 or week 5 of 2019. So he's had a good long while to rehab from that. So, man, I'm a big Chubb lover.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that Chubber? Or if you're a Chubb lover, are you a Chubber?
Oh gosh, I ruined that in the dark, Josh. I'm
It's all
sorry,
right.
I didn't even see your joke.
I ruined your Jameis Winston joke last week, so it's payback. Yeah, my only thing was 3 games before he got hurt, he scored 13.25, 17.5, and 23.95 points. The dude was putting it together, and he got hurt. So don't forget about Bradley Chubb. I think he is absolutely a guy that can have a nice bounce-back season for the Broncos. I love A.J. Johnson, Todd Davis, lunch pail guy. Bradley Chubb is the guy I'm most excited about from this linebacking core. So let's look to DB now and talk about Justin Simmons, another guy, kind of like Todd Davis, gets a little bit slept on here, played 99.72% of the snaps last year. That's great. Anytime, I don't know, could you not just get the final 0.28 here and just get 100? But you love to see anything above 90 for any defender. Safety 11 in 2019. I said, like Todd Davis, this guy is being slept on. Something to keep in mind, though, when I was doing my research here, he had 15 passes defended, which was the most in a league by a safety. So I haven't done a deep dive, but I have to imagine that passes defended is not the stickiest stat in the world. So just something to keep in mind. Simmons definitely benefited in big play leagues from being the number 1 safety in terms of passes defended.
Yeah,
so.
He's he plays deep, but man, he knows how to make plays. I love Simmons. He's one of my favorite safeties. Hated to see him not get the extension that he deserved.
Pay that man, dude. Come on, Denver.
Because man, he's been nothing but outperform where they drafted him. I think he was a 3rd round pick. And I mean, he legit is like a top 6 or 7 safety in the league.
I agree. Doesn't get the respect though. Bobby, what do you think?
Yeah, love Simmons. Y'all are right on. 93 tackles, 15 pass defense, 4 interceptions. Franchise tag is nice, but I'm with y'all. Should have got that extension.
Yeah, I was looking it up to see. So they have about $30 million in cap space. They absolutely – I can't imagine that franchise tag for safeties is that high.
No.
They definitely could have kept him if they – extended him if they wanted to.
This whole defense is super impressive, as far as ADP goes. None of these guys are Daniil Hunter or Darius Leonard in IDP drafts. You're not taking any of them super early. But all these guys are going to be they're going to be nice, steady guys for you week in and week out.
What about Kareem Jackson, Bobby?
Deeper leagues. He's a little bit boom bust. Had a 37-point game in week 14 last year. Can get some picks from time to time. There for a while, I think maybe he had a cornerback designation as well, which was a little bit funky. I may be making that up. But, yeah, deep leagues. That's it.
Yeah, we also have some notables here. Shelby Harris, Josie Jewell, DeMarcus Walker. A nice Walker note here, Bobby.
Yeah, deeper league potential for me. Weeks 4 through 7 last year, 15 tackles, 4 sacks. The biggest thing for him is obviously just his health and opportunity. But with Von Miller and Bradley Chubb back, he'll probably only be on the field some, so his snaps won't be super high. But, yeah, maybe in a deeper league, Marcus Walker.
There you go. All right, the new Las Vegas Raiders offense brought in a lot of skill position dudes, so let's hit some of them right now. Derek Carr, the disrespected one, doesn't like everyone being so mean to him on social media and in the media.
He got caught with his burner. Do you guys see that?
Was it with his burner?
There was a, allegedly people are saying there was his burner account out there. It was pathetic.
Gosh, that's sad. Man,
it was just only Fresno State and Derek and Derek Carr talk. That's all it was.
Maybe
and then he deactivated them the second it was
discovered.
Someone called it out.
Yeah, so it was definitely his burner. Okay, so the one with the burner: Derek Carr, quarterback; Josh Jacobs, running back; Tyrell Williams, Henry Ruggs, and Brian Edwards at wide receiver; Darren Waller at tight end. On the defensive side, this is Paul Gunther's 4-3 scheme. We should mention offensive coordinator Greg Olson, as the fantasy footballers call him. On the defensive side, the starters: Malik Collins and Jonathan Hankins at defensive tackle; Clellan Farrell and Max Crosby at D end; Nick Morrow, Nick Kwiatkowski, and Corey Littleton at linebacker; Jonathan Abram and Demarius Randall at safety; and then Prince Amukamara and Trayvon Mullen at cornerback. So a lot of new faces on this team, but let's start with Derek Carr. I love him as a late-round QB. Bobby, how are you feeling about Mr. Burner?
I'm with you, Joshy. Kind of kind of look at the same thing that, we're saying about Drew Lock and possibly Justin Herbert. Look at the cast that he has around him. And, you've kind of got to like Carr a little bit more than his ADP would show.
Yep. So Josh Jacobs, Bob, when did you sell? What league did you sell Josh Jacobs in?
The terrible league with Dynasty Sneeko at Fantasy Guru Bros. The league I should have never got into. But yeah, I had Josh Jacobs and sold him pretty early for some, I don't even know what, like crab cakes and some
a ham sandwich,
Little Debbie's or something.
Yeah, but, they just gave you some Milano cookies. They know what your weakness is.
There you go. The the Gruden talk about Gruden being upset about Jacobs not getting the Rookie of the Year, and talking about maybe using him more in the passing game this year, and then you draft Lynn Bowden. I don't know. I'm just not really buying it. I think Josh Jacobs is good. I think he's a good NFL running back. I just don't love him. I don't love him where he's being drafted and everything right now. The Lynn Bowden mess kind of worries me a little bit if I'm the Jacobs owner. I love it if I'm the Bowden owner.
Bobby, he was sleeping in his car. He's had a hard life. You need to get off his back. No, I think I love Jacobs as a running back. RB7 by ADP right now, little too high for me. I'd rather have Joe Mixon or Miles Sanders, who are both behind him right now. But yeah, Jacobs as a back-end RB1, that feels about right. RB7, little rich.
Yeah, same thing. I am a little worried about him as far as being a pass catcher now they've brought in Bowden. But
Bowden.
Line Bowden. But yeah, I mean, I like Josh Jacobs, but he's not someone that I'm typically targeting unless he falls to that, late second, mid-second.
Agreed. All right, Bobby, I know you watched some UK football games. Lynn Bowden, Jalen Richard. Let's talk about Lynn Bowden. I think he's a very exciting playmaker. We've very, very quickly forgotten his trap house incident.
Yeah.
Will be fun to watch. I don't think that fun to have in fantasy. But how are you feeling about Mr. Bowden there, Bobby?
I think you're probably right, Josh. I think you've probably got that spot on. Lynn is really good at a lot of things. I just don't know that he's great at one thing, which may be awesome for an NFL squad, but could be super, super frustrating for fantasy. So I wouldn't be surprised if we're both wrong, but I don't really want to own Lynn Bowden right now.
Well, what about Tyrell Williams? Is that a guy you're interested in owning?
I mean, you kind of have to. I've seen a little bit of Twitter hype here in the last little while. People are kind of sleeping on him some, and I think he's going to play. I think he's going to be opposite probably Edwards. I don't know where Ruggs really is lined up right now, probably in the slot. But for, all intents and purposes where he's going, I think you've got to be somewhat interested. And I think there was maybe something that came out about Tyrell being injured a little bit last year. He kind of played with something. I don't know if it was a high ankle or what, but I mean, I don't love him. We don't need to be talking about him a ton, but if he's around late, you know what late is. If he's a decent value, maybe stash him.
I've always liked Tyrell.
You've had a soft spot for Tyrell. What is that? Does it got swag or the drip or what's going on here?
Yeah, I don't know. Just, the days he was with the Chargers, I always just liked that he learned from Drip King Keenan,
Okay.
Yeah.
I always liked that. I always liked that he wore sleeves. He was a tall, lanky dude. But yeah, I think him and Carr they had an obvious connection, but Bobby was right. He wasn't healthy. So he's someone that, he's literally free. But he could have some nice weeks if you're desperate.
If you're desperate,
which you may be, you're probably going to be at some point, because of the Rona.
That's right.
I like a lot of these pieces on this Raiders offense.
It's going to be really interesting because Carr has no more excuses. They have stocked the pantry. They've got a really solid. I think they had the 11th ranked offensive line by PFF. So all the pieces are there. This is Carr's time to shine right now. One guy I know you're excited about, Bobby, based on the what we're seeing online, is Mr. Henry Ruggs.
Oh, baby, am I? I think there's only been that one video of him fading to the end zone and having some crazy catch. But, the early hype and the camp talk right now about Ruggs has really got me giddy.
Yeah, so I looked it up because we know Henry Ruggs is, I believe, the fastest wide receiver in this draft. And so I looked it up to see how is Carr at throwing the deep ball. He's about middle of the road, so passes more than 21 yards down the field. According to Football Outsiders, he had a 47.1 completion percentage, which was actually between Lamar Jackson and Case Keenum, of all people. So this tempers my expectations for Ruggs just a little bit because Carr's not like the best. Kyler Murray actually was the highest at like 62% completion on deep balls, which makes me excited for the cast of weapons there in Arizona. We'll get to those on another pod. So, yeah, I mean, I like Ruggs. I just wonder, what's y'all's temperature? Is Derek Carr the quarterback on this team next year? I'd say it's about 50-50 for me right now. I'm just not quite sold, and I don't know that the team is either.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the worst thing for them to just tank this year and get one of those top QBs.
Yeah,
it'd be pretty nice, and we love those weapons long term. We know all about Brian Edwards. He's had Twitter in a frenzy here lately.
He really has. I think maybe because our expectations were down a little bit just because of the injury.
Oh yeah.
But the comparisons coming out of Davante Adams, Bobby, is that accurate?
Is that right? Did I put that right?
Davante Adams comps for Brian Edwards.
I saw that. That's what. Well, okay, so Derek Carr played at Fresno State with Davante Adams,
mm-hmm.
and then Derek Carr said that he reminds him a little bit of Davante Adams.
Wow,
yes, sir.
Did he say this? From his burner account.
Yes, sir. He had a few chips on his shoulder when he's saying this, and Doritos just sitting there.
Chips over here, dip over here.
Yes, sir.
What's the dip of choice, Addie? When you're going non-tortilla chips and queso, what's the dip of choice?
Man, I just like straight up salsa.
Okay.
I mean, I do this. I was thinking about this the other day. I think Mexican food makes me happiest.
Does it?
Yeah.
I'm glad you know this about yourself. That's awesome.
I could eat it every single day, I think. But so what I've been doing lately is I've been going and getting Mexican, and I got my usual order, but then I like getting some extra salsa. I always get 16 ounces of the hot salsa. I usually go through that in about a day.
I was gonna say, are you like jolting up in the middle of the night here? Like, I'm worried about you with that.
I'm good. Hey, I've got a tolerance built up. I'm good. I do need to get up though early in the morning.
Yeah, I was gonna say like.
But I'm usually good. I can usually sleep through the night just fine. But I do need to give myself time.
Yeah, need to get up about 6:30 in the morning. Take care of business. So, yeah, Brian Edwards. Is there any chance he finishes the year as the wide receiver 1 on this team?
I think it may be a little too soon. I don't know if it's happening in 2020. I do think his time is coming. I think 2021 is going to be. Yeah, I think he's got a good chance to be the number 1 receiver on the team.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
But I like Ruggs too. He's getting slept on a little bit too much, I think.
I think just because of the fact that
the Raiders took him high.
Took him as the number 1 wide receiver.
Right.
Over Judy, over CD. So people are like, if he had gone 3rd, I think we would be looking at him totally different. But he kind of has that wide receiver 1 and the rookie draft expectation now. Yeah. And it's like, oh, that's not really fair to paint him with that brush because he's a talented wide receiver. He can't help it that the Raiders took him as the first wide receiver off the board.
Something that's smart to do right now in this world of fantasy football that we're living in, this hype video world, is when there's a bunch of hype videos that go up about Brian Edwards and people say he's going to be the wide receiver 1 for the team, go buy Henry Ruggs at that time. Go buy somebody else that people aren't talking about because everybody gets so out of whack when all of a sudden Antonio Gibson is the new RB1 for Washington football team, and you get a bunch of stupid trade offers and take them because – people get out of whack when it comes to fantasy Twitter.
That's right, especially in a season with not a lot of news and, weird training camp and no preseason. We are just climbing the walls right now. So Hunter Renfrow, probably the NFL player, I've said this, that reminds me the most of myself. Very average build, like 5'9", receding hairline. I'm very much, this is my spirit animal in the NFL.
I think you're Sam Hubbard for me.
You got to stop that comparison, putting that out there. People are going to be very disappointed when we get to do live shows next season.
We're going on a tour, Josh.
That's right, fantasy footballer style. So
Scottsville,
yeah, just the surrounding counties around Warren County. So I looked it up because I wanted to see, okay, slot wide receivers, these guys kind of catching passes close to the line of scrimmage. Is this a good fit for Derek Carr? So he had the 3rd lowest average depth of target in the league at 6.6, according to Pro Football Reference. Now that likely goes up because of the weapons that they brought in. People like, Bowden and Brian Edwards and Henry Ruggs. But I still love the underneath targets that Renfrow is going to get if he manages to get on the field, given that we know that Carr has a history of throwing the ball short.
Yeah. I just wonder. I mean, we saw the reports this week, though. They plan on having Ruggs run out of the slot a little bit. Yeah. And that's going to be such a mismatch.
It is. I don't know. That's why I'm saying if Renfrow sees the field, I think he'll see targets.
Yeah.
But will he see the field?
It's just hard not to imagine him seeing the field because I thought he did play really well last year.
Mm-hmm. Also, keep in mind, Tyrell is a little injury prone. So, Renfrow could see some.
And for wide receiver sets, that could be a chance where.
Just feel like Renfrow is I feel like Gruden would love Renfrow. I feel like I like this guy.
Yeah, this guy's a grinder. That was a bad Gruden. I'm sorry.
That was a rough Gruden there, Josh.
Rough Gruden. This guy. Nope, still not there. Darren Waller. So he's tight end 5. I'm just going to move on. Tight end 5 by ADP. That is way too rich for me. He was second in the league in receiving yards last year with 1,145. That's almost guaranteed to come down because of all the new receiving weapons. Where you could see some progression. People, it is not positive regression. That is not a phrase that makes sense in the English language. Let's cut this out. That is not a phrase. So you could see progression with his TDs. He only had 3 touchdowns in 2019.
I think the whole sum of this Waller talk is Josh is smarter than you. Whoever's listening.
Yeah,
Josh
it's not positive regression. That is that's almost oxymoronic. Please don't do that. Don't be that fantasy analyst.
How old is Darren Waller again?
He's older. He's like late 20s.
Because this was a guy that was a wide receiver, converted to tight end.
Had the drug issues, was kind of, had some issues. I think he was in Baltimore maybe.
Yes,
so
he was.
Little later breakout just because of everything.
Yeah, converted to tight end like Tyler Boyd.
Wait a minute. Tyler Boyd?
Didn't Adam throw this out on Twitter a couple
You're
weeks
thinking
ago?
about Auden Tate.
Auden Tate, yeah. I was like, Tyler Boyd, tight end. No, please. All right, so let's hit these defensive pieces. There's some guys here that we like, especially now that they've imported some actual linebackers, and it's not just the most handsome man in the game to hear Whitehead trying to hold it down. Would you stop trying to get your hat on camera, Adam? Killing me right now. We're on Twitter, for God's sake. People are actually watching this. All right, so Clelin Ferrell. Bobby, I'm going to give the kind of not pessimistic take, but I'm going to give mine, and then I want you to give yours, all right?
Sounds good.
So I always like to look, the end of this season, how are the snaps trending? Was this a guy getting more playing time as the season wound down? So the first 10 games, Clelin Ferrell was above 60% of snaps every week. In fact, in 6 of those weeks, he played above 70% of snaps. The last 4 games, he played below 60% in every game, with 3 of those games falling below 50% of snaps. That's not the type of trend I like to see. I do see him taking a step forward, but I've got him as my defensive lineman 42 right now. So not a guy I'm looking at as like a top 3 defensive lineman for my squad.
I understand. Yeah, his rookie numbers were not quite where they needed to be, especially with Max Crosby appearing to go off. But this whole fantasy Twitter right now, these hype videos have me going a little crazy on Cleveland right now. He's bulked up, they say, to about 275 pounds, put some muscle on. They say he looks bigger. And I don't know. I think Clelin is we haven't talked about him yet in the Shark City because he's not in the top 20 defensive linemen taken. Neither has been Max Crosby, right? Or is Crosby? Surely he's gone.
Crosby went, yeah.
But I think we've talked about this ad nauseum for the last, couple months, that if you'd rather have Max Crosby at his ADP versus Clelin Ferrell at his ADP, I think I still want to buy Ferrell. I still think he has potential. He's a 4th pick in the NFL draft.
Yeah, he's going to have every opportunity. It's just, can he actually break out?
For sure.
But people were roasting that at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they thought this is maybe like a later first-round guy, maybe even a second-round guy. So I did the same exercise with Max Crosby just to see how they compared. His snaps were all over the place last season, but he's the last 4 games he averaged about 75% of snaps. Once his snaps got above 50% in week 4, he had 10 games of double-digit scoring, including a game where he scored 50.95 points against the Jets. And only 3 games of single-digit scoring once he got above 50% of snaps. And I said, if Farrell takes a step forward, that's good news for Crosby too.
Yeah.
That's more attention that the offensive line has to pay to Farrell, which will open up more opportunities for Max. He needs to add a third X on that name, though.
Yes.
Then he'll be truly unstoppable. But I'm with you, Bobby. I think people are fading Max a little too much right now. This is a guy, top 12, maybe, but definitely a top 24 guy in my mind.
And go for it, Addie.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I like Max Crosby. I think he's going to be just fine this year. I think he's pretty safe. We've seen a lot of talk about, people thinking he's going to not do nearly what he did last year. I don't know. I think he's going to be fine.
That was his first year. He finished as top 12 his first year. We love
and people liked him coming out of the
Bosa.
draft.
Yeah, it wasn't like this guy was a nobody. So it's like, why don't we see the same step forward for Max Crosby that we see for these other first year guys?
Yeah, and I also like Carl Nassib,
the finance guy from the Hard Knocks season.
That was like 3 years
compound interest, like trying to explain it like he's Warren Buffett. I'm like, oh, Carl, just stop, man.
But I like him a little bit too. If you're in a deep league, he can have some big weeks. I bet I could see Gruden liking him.
I think too that Tom talked about on our show a couple weeks ago how bad the Raiders were at stopping the run, and we just talked about they were using the NFL's most handsome man, Tahir Whitehead, to do that. So now they have Nick Kwiatkowski and Corey Littleton behind Max Crosby and Clelin Ferrell. And, they probably don't have to worry as much about stopping the run and, grabbing tackles. They're probably going to be freed up a little bit to pursue the quarterback. So I'm on board with you, Josh. I think that was a great take on Crosby. I think we're sleeping a little bit too much probably on Crosby and Ferrell.
Yeah, so Nick Kwiatkowski, hot take, Bobby. You think that old Nick Quick may lead the Raiders in tackles in 2020?
I think it's going to happen. I think Nick Quick is going to stay home, and I think he's probably going to be your linebacker who is, tackling the running backs. I think that's going to happen more often. And then I think you're going to see Corey Littleton in coverage. We'll get to the Corey Littleton take here in a minute, but I don't think that's too much of a hot take. I think Nick Kwiatkowski is a really good tackler.
Yeah, so I still have Littleton as 1A, Nick Quick as 1B. I think it's very close. And I went and looked at the tackles last year because I wanted to see how they broke down for each guy, obviously in different situations, so it's not a perfect comparison. But Littleton had 134 tackles in 16 games, or 8.4 tackles per game. Nick had 76 tackles in basically 9 games. There was one game where he had 11 snaps, so I didn't count that. And that is good for an average of 8.4 tackles per game. So these guys averaged the same number of tackles in the opportunity that they were giving. So I would not be surprised if Nick Kwiatkowski was the tackle leader, because we've seen that pace in Chicago. He can definitely get those same numbers here in Las Vegas. But I've disrespected Corey Littleton for long enough. He's a little too high in ADP right now. He's linebacker 10. Which is just, I don't know. That's a little high. I have him as LB 13. I think he'll finish right around there, but I also think Nick Kwiatkowski finishes top 24 as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think Kwiatkowski is definitely the one you want in fantasy just because of the price. But yeah, like Bobby kind of mentioned earlier, Corey Littleton's one of the best coverage linebackers in the league, so he'll be out there all 3 downs. I think same thing with Kwiatkowski.
Yep, I just love They saw they had a need, and they went out and got the 2 best, in my opinion, the 2 best linebackers that were out there on the market and brought them both to Las Vegas. So it's a lot of fun.
There was a little bit of a bummer. Remember when they brought in Nick first, and we were like, oh, baby.
Nick just became a top 12 linebacking option for IDP.
Right, and then Corey Littleton came in and put out the fire.
Yeah, it kind of ruined the fun a little bit, but I wouldn't be disappointed having both these guys on my actual fantasy roster.
Yeah, they'll both be really solid.
All right, so next up here, we got one of my babies, Jonathan Abram. I'll just going to read this tweet from Marcus Mosier today. He said, I wouldn't be shocked if Jonathan Abram led the team in tackles and takeaways this season. That is music to my ears. He is DB 13 right now, according to ADP, which is just right. Yep. I like him around that 11, 12, 13 range, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I love him. You're not going to have to take him as your first safety. And, I expect him to be one of the, leading tacklers at the position this year.
Yep. Bobby?
Love it. Yeah, I wish I had not traded him for John Johnson here not too long ago. But congratulations, Josh, on owning Jonathan Abram.
Thank you very much. So let's we don't have to talk about these last few guys here. The relevant one, the Las Vegas defense. So let's jump over to the defending Super Bowl champions and talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. This is the Eric Bieniemy led offense here with Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, Clyde Edwards-Helaire at running back. Who's the $200 man that you bought? And the
DeAndre Washington.
DeAndre Washington is there in the backfield. Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, and McCole Hardman at wide receiver. I still think, from what I've heard, the NFL has yet to make a ruling on whether lizard people can play in the NFL. So I'm not sure Sammy Watkins is actually going to be eligible this year. Just something to keep an eye on.
I've been seeing some nice hype about Sammy.
Mm-hmm.
Like going back to his lizard planet with all of his people,
they're saying that he's been looking good. Andy Reid's excited.
Andy Reid's excited about everything. He's thinking about his ribs he's going to have for lunch, and he's like, I love all you guys. So you got, Sammy and McCole at wide receiver.
I thought you were talking about barbecue Sammys.
I thought you were talking about the McRib. Travis Kelce at tight end. Steve Spagnuolo, defensive coordinator, 4-3 base scheme. We have Chris Jones and Derek Nottie. We're going to go with Nottie at defensive tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Frank Clark and Alex Okafor at defensive end. Willie Gay, Anthony Hitchens, and Damian Wilson at linebacker. Juan Thornhill and Tyrann Mathieu at strong safety. Bashad Breeland and Charvarius Ward at cornerback. So Patrick Mahomes starting on the offensive side. I just said it's going to be fun debating him, Lamar Jackson, and Kyler Murray as the fantasy QB1 for about the next decade.
Hey, what's there to say?
What is there to say about this guy, Addie? He gets $500 million. He wins a Super Bowl. He wins you an MVP. I don't know what else you have to say about Patrick freaking Mahomes.
Hey, money talks.
Hey, Bobby, you got him as your dynasty number one in your mixed ranks.
Josh, somebody calls you today and says, "Hey, Big 3 IDP, we're going to buy it for $500 million." And it's all Josh's, because really Josh is the only one who's important here. What are you doing with that money, Josh?
Well, I am hoping in my final moments that Allie knows my funeral wishes, because I'm probably having a heart attack if someone offers me $500 million for the Big 3 IDP podcast. So yeah, that
was a terrible answer, Josh. I needed something material. I needed something that you want. What do you want? You want the right to Star Wars, or you want Marvel to be named after you? We'll get it for you, Josh.
I'd have to think on it. I'll give you an answer by the end of the pod how I'm spending my cut of the $500 million. It's quite a bit of quiche. So probably just pay off my debts, something real. I'll put it into a 401k, a mutual fund.
Get some Funko Pop for the soda, baby.
Yeah, I definitely just would upgrade the soda check. Would be the lame answer.
Get some lights in here, some strobe lights, some mirrors,
some lights, like we're just sitting.
Some glow sticks.
We're going so far off the rails. Speaking of rails, the hype train continues to roll for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm getting some Kareem Hunt minus all the POS elements of the Kareem Hunt experience. Getting some Kareem Hunt vibes, this kind of league winning potential. I took him in the back of the first round in Shark City. I'm feeling pretty good, Addie.
Like it. Yeah, I think he's I don't know. We did see where DeAndre Washington's going to have a large role.
Stop it. You're just trying to justify your purchase. That's enough of that.
Now listen. You know where DeAndre Washington played college ball at?
Western Kentucky University.
Texas Tech. You know where Patrick Mahomes played college ball at?
Western Kentucky University.
Correct. Home of the Hilltoppers.
Can you imagine? Patrick Mahomes. Oh, my God. Yeah, the CH hype is – do y'all think it's getting out of control a little bit, or where – is it justified?
No, I mean, he's in a great situation. I mean, I hate that he's going to do so well, because I don't think he's anything that special.
Yeah.
Whoa! Come for me, Twitter.
Yeah. It's at Adam IDP on Twitter, y'all.
Oh, Adam can handle it. I believe in Adam. He'll be fine.
Yeah. So,
how what Burrow? How many touchdowns he tossed last year?
Burrow?
Like 60?
Like 60.
Yeah.
CH, how are you only going to come away with one of those?
Ooh.
questions, Addie.
Yes,
All the
sir.
right questions.
Not that fast, in my opinion. You're a good catcher of the ball.
But DeAndre, baby, I love you. You're gonna make it worth all them $205.
Sir.
All right, Tyreek, he'll never play again. So I went back and looked, and he only played 10 games over 50% of snaps. He scored 189 points. So if you give him that 18.9 points per game pace over 16 games, he would have finished as the wide receiver 2.
Yeah,
So
he's awesome.
he's just really good. There's nothing else to say about Tyreek Hill. Maybe injury. That was a fluke injury he had where he broke a rib like down into like his vital organs, I think it was.
Yeah.
Some scary stuff, but
he's the type that's still going to try and trot out there and play, it seems.
he is.
So.
Yeah, you have to admire him. Not for much in his life, but
You're right.
for wanting to stay on the field.
He's
hey,
fun to watch
tip
play
of the cap.
football, but yeah, he's not a
a
best
person I'm
human
rooting
being.
for.
Right. I don't have him anywhere.
I don't think I do either.
I usually try and follow those rules. I mean, I'm not gonna,
have the dirt bags on
I'm
your
not
team.
gonna have Bobby Sylvester in any leagues.
That's right. Not gonna have him as your co-owner. Not gonna be your 101.
Piece of trash.
Yeah,
Get out of here, Bobby.
Yeah, hope you enjoyed your time because it's our landscape now.
Also,
Bobby.
Fantasy Pros, you should have done better. You should have reacted better. You
Yeah.
were. I thought they were reactive, not proactive throughout
Yeah.
the whole thing.
It's like when you get that information, you don't just sit on it and hope it goes away, which is
Yeah.
absolutely what they did.
Yeah, you had all the evidence right there immediately. Also, they never reached out to the victim until she called them out about it. Just a bad look. Hopefully other websites were paying attention because it's a learning experience for everybody. But you got to be better about that stuff.
Yeah, just the middle of the story, cancel your Fantasy Pro subscription. Come over and check out the Big 3 IDP.
Sure.
Subscribe to websites that don't harbor sexual predators. That's
Yeah.
the moral of the story for me.
It was an easy call. They should have condemned it from the beginning.
Yep.
I don't know.
Do better, Fantasy Pros, or just go away. That would be fine too. All right, so Tyreek Hill. Yeah, we're not owning him just because he's a piece of trash. But if you're fine having pieces of trash on your team, Bobby, you could, take a stab at Tyreek Hill.
No, that's 3 of us. I don't know Tyreek anywhere either. Weird stat too. For him to have had such high scoring weeks last year, only went over 100 yards 2 times, which was kind of bizarre to me. And one of them was in Tennessee when we watched him.
Yeah, we're going to talk about another stat from that Tennessee game here in just a bit that I'm really excited for.
Kind of strange.
Yeah, so the Lizard Man, Sammy Watkins, played the highest percentage of snaps for the freaking Super Bowl winning offense. And what did it get him? A wide receiver, 54 finish. No, thank you.
Yeah, I'm ready for Sammy to go away. It's time.
I'm just not a Sammy guy. And this is not some like undrafted guy. This was like a top 10 or 15 pick in the NFL draft.
The main reason
has never done it, man.
The main reason I want Sammy to go away is because when the Big 3 made the long journey to Nashville and we watched this hot game where the sun was in our eyes the whole time, Sammy runs a little crossing pattern. Tyreek hits him right in the numbers. Sammy drops it. Adam gets it all on film, zooms in right on me because I had him started in my lineup.
That's right.
It's a terrible look for IDP
It
Bob.
all comes back to how Bobby has been personally wronged by these people.
Yeah,
I don't blame you, man.
I don't know, but
Absolutely.
Sammy he had some moments there in the playoffs
He always, he's like a playoff guy. I don't know what it is.
And week 1.
and week 1.
Yeah,
But I mean, he'll have those weeks, and plus with this year and the wonkiness that it could be. I mean, he could be like the wide receiver 1 for a stretch if there's
he was the wide receiver 1, and he finished as wide receiver 54.
I'm saying like for their team for a few weeks, like in the season. You know what I
He
mean?
played the highest percentage of snaps, man. He had the opportunity. It was there. I don't know what it is. Maybe Mahomes just looked more at Kelsey and not as much at Sammy.
Here it is, Adam
Yeah.
talking about the Sammy love, and yet his biggest purchase probably in the offseason is this next guy.
Yeah, me Cole.
Sammy's just free, and everyone hates him. So that's when it's like, yeah, well,
That's true.
you could do worse, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
Insert Tyrell Williams joke.
He's in the Kansas City offense.
That's true.
You should always pay attention to anyone
It's
in that
weird
offense.
that there would be any free pieces of that offense.
Yes.
You're right.
Mhm.
That is a good point. So, Mecole Hardman, I was looking for him on the RSO where it lists 30 players, and I was on the second page, which starts at 31, and I was like, where's Mecole Hardman? I kept searching for his name. I was like, next page. I was in like the 120s. I was like, where the hell is Mecole Hardman? Had to go back to the first page. Mecole Hardman outscored Odell Beckham, Calvin Ridley and Marvin Jones in 2019. Only 11 fewer points than A.J. Brown. I did not realize this.
Now, it is important to remember that we get return yards. So McCole was used heavily in the return game.
But every league should have points for return
Exactly.
yards. If you're in a league that doesn't, fix that setting before you draft.
100% agree. That needs to be – that should be a standard just like IDP should be a standard. If you're starting up fantasy, today, I think you would want to incorporate return yards for everybody.
Yep, it's a stat that's on the field that needs to be counted.
And I'm even talking about on defense and for IDP. So, like, if Patrick Peterson gets a pick and runs it back 20 yards, that's 2 points on the run back.
It should be like anyone that's doing something good on the field, you should get fantasy points for it.
Yep.
More points equals better.
Shout out to Pat P. I've been going back and watching some old All or Nothings from 2015, and I like Pat P more after watching that Arizona Cardinals All.
That was a fun season. With him.
I will say, I actually like Pat P this year in cornerback leagues. I think, and if you look last year at how he played when he came back, he was actually really good for IDP.
Was he?
Yes. So I'm a big fan of him.
We'll talk more about him on the NFC West preview. Yep. Make sure to bring him up, even though we don't usually talk about cornerbacks.
Is that going to be with Dr. Leeses?
Dr. Leeses is going to be joining us for the NFC West preview. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
We got to talk McCole Hardman.
Yeah. So McCole.
Love him. I mean, I think he's he's great. I think he's going to take the next step this year. I think that we've seen all the talk about they want to get him more involved. I just think he's electric. I think he's one of the fastest guys in the league.
Him and Tyreek were racing, weren't they? Did you see that video?
I don't know if I don't think I saw that.
I couldn't tell who won. It was kind of hard to tell. Did Tyreek win?
Tyreek had him by like 5 yards. He was able to kind of ease up at the end.
But hard to ever forget that. I know, touching back on the game we saw live, but that jump pass to McCole. I mean, that was the one of the most insane plays I've ever seen. So Mahomes does a jump pass, and then there's like 3 defenders like right with him, and then he just
he's gone.
Scoots.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just breaks away.
I think Tyreek in those intermediate, screen type game is probably a better receiver, but downfield, I'm with you, Addie. I think Mecole could really scare some people this year. He had 6 touchdowns in 2019. That's I don't know. That's kind of a stat people don't talk about a whole lot. And you're putting him with a guy who had 50 touchdowns in 2018. Oh my goodness.
He's going to get better.
And Mahomes was out a lot last year. People forget that.
Yeah, out for 3 games, I'm pretty sure, with the dislocated kneecap. So, all right, I wanted to give you all his finish, and I wanted to see if you're going above or below that. So he finished as, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25. Wide receiver 25 in our league, which, again, rewards kick return, which should be the standard. Addie, does he finish better or worse than wide receiver 25 in 2020?
Oh man, there's just so many good.
Tough,
There's just
right?
so many good receivers.
Yep.
That's the only problem. I think he ends up in that, in that range, 25 to 35. I'm not going to be surprised if he ends up in that range.
Guess who was wide receiver 23? Michael Gallup.
Wow.
Kind of forget that. Top 24 wide receiver, Michael Gallup. Bobby, is McCole better or worse than wide receiver 25 this year?
As I drop my pen on the floor. Gosh, I don't know. That's hard. I'm going to say better because I think this is the year that Sammy probably gets out of the way a little bit more.
That's a great over-under. I would take him slightly above. I'd say, 24, 23. Because I think he is going to take a step forward. And it's the Kansas City offense. If we get 16 games from Mahomes, everyone's stats should tick up a little bit from where they were last year. So Travis Kelce, the guy got paid. He's on the team through 2025. If the team likes him that much to give him money through that year, I like him at least for the next 3 years. I think that's the window. I think if you have Travis Kelce, maybe you could sell him high off this news. But he's still the tight end 1 to my mind for at least this year. We'll see how things shake out after 2020, but I think he's still going to be top 5 for the next 3 years, barring some kind of catastrophic injury.
Yeah, agree. I mean, this is great for his value. I mean, and we've seen elite and the great tight ends play deep into. Think about Tony Gonzalez. We saw it there in Kansas City. He played in Atlanta deep into his career. So I think it's going to be the same type thing for Kelce. I'm fine with him in Dynasty. I mean, I think he's got a fine outlook for the next 3-4 years.
He is a guy I could see playing later into his 30s.
Yeah, and he'll be good. He'll catch. He's like Witten, you know what I mean? It's like he has great hands. He's good after the catch. I mean, that translates late into careers.
And even if you lose your speed or your athleticism, you can still post up and be a huge target in the red zone.
Jason Witten was a top 12 tight end last year. 83 targets.
That's one of the most insane stats from 2019.
Crazy.
And we forgot to talk about him on the Raiders offense.
That's true. And they have Foster Moreau or whatever there too.
Yeah, Foster Moreau. Okay, Jason Witten. I mean,
while I'm thinking about that, you know how we've seen a lot of people talk about Rob Gronkowski and if he's still how he's gonna be affected.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, Jason Witten was fine. Gronk's gonna be okay. He's gonna be just fine.
Yep.
Witten was in the booth for a year, and he's like close to 40.
And and Witten shaved his head. So
hey, something to think about with Gronk too is that year off could have really helped him. Like,
just rest, recover, not get your body beat up for a year. I agree.
Gronk's gonna be a top 3 tight end this year.
Jeff has a good question. So if McCole plays wide receiver, if he's a wide receiver too, is he going to be used less on special teams?
I say no.
I don't think so either. I
mean, he'll be used all over the field. I think that's Andy Reid.
We saw them use Tyreek Hill a lot, the first few years of his career in the return game. So, yeah, I think McColl's he's electric at it. So I think that that's just part of his game. I think they'd be smart to keep him there and use him there.
And if something happened to McColl, they could probably bring in Demarcus Robinson or even don't they still have Byron Pringle? So they've got a lot
of those types.
Yeah.
So defense here, fellas. Chris Jones, I wanted to go back and see because I know down a little bit on Chris Jones in 2019, but I remembered him having just an incredible 2018. So I went back and looked at his scoring. This is from our listener league on the Sleeper platform. So from weeks 5 through 16 in 2018, he did not score below 12.5 points. He had 3 games above 30 points and a couple 20-point games. It was an absolute beast. Now, in 2019, he wasn't as dominant. I mentioned the game against the Titans. He scored 32.9 points that week. That was week 10. But otherwise, he didn't crack 20 points. So I believe the truth with Chris Jones, who they just paid a whole lot of money to, is somewhere between 2018 and 2019. I love him as if he's my defensive tackle 1 this year, if that's where he's listed on your platform, sign me up. I'm all aboard the Chris Jones defensive tackle train.
Yeah, he's such a beast. He wasn't healthy last year. I think that's why he had the down year. So, yeah, I love him, and he's such a value in drafts. Like even in this in Shark City, he was defensive lineman 25 taken. So that's a great value because I mean, I don't care that he's a defensive tackle. He's got legit like top 10 upside.
He's one of those guys that transcends the defensive tackle label, which we tend to degrade those guys a little bit, but
he's a beast.
He's a beast, man. It's like, don't forget, if you slot in some of these, defensive tackles, like for instance, Cameron Hayward scored 233 points last year as a defensive tackle in our RSO league. That would have put him as defensive lineman tied for number 3 with defensive ends. So defensive tackles absolutely are not like second-class citizens compared to defensive ends.
There's like 5 or 6 that are elite. Yes. And then the rest of them they all kind of run together.
Yeah, after that, you're like, not so much. But Chris Jones is absolutely elite. Bobby, any Chris Jones love here?
Nah, he's just a large individual. That's all.
He needs respect. I mean, think about he was a big reason why they won the Super Bowl. I mean, those pass deflections, he had 3 humongous pass deflections in that game. And, Chris Jones deserves more respect.
He was one of the best players on the field in that Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
I really believe that.
Yeah.
He was all over the place.
3 forced fumbles, a fumble recovered, and an interception last year too, which is awesome to see out of a freaking defensive tackle.
Interception for a defensive tackle. That is truly bizarre.
Must have been like a pop-up or something.
Yeah, something just catch it and run. All right, Frank Clark, hit us with your flank.
They dropped him back in coverage.
Yeah, he's in the middle of the field, like 6'8" or whatever he is. All right, Frank Clark, Bobby, hit us with your Frank take.
Yeah, I owned Frank Clark in our main league back in 2018. And correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there something that came out in 2018 about him possibly he played all year with like an elbow injury or like a knee injury or something. And I think 2018 he had like 12 or 13 sacks, and he was just like, yeah, I only really played at like 70% or 80%. And people are like, oh my gosh. Well, he plays, 2019 and has a fine year. I think he had like 9 sacks, I believe, last year. But obviously with this, didn't he just get paid? Is that right? Am I making that up?
I'm not sure, Babo.
I'm so sorry. This is really astute podcasting right now. I don't know.
He signed a 5-year, $104 million contract with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think this was a couple years ago.
Okay. I don't know. It's getting a little blurry late at night, but I don't know. I guess my main thing on Frank Clark is I'm just kind of fading a little bit on him. I don't know why. I don't really have an astute observation to give you right now, but I don't know. That dip in production kind of worries me a little bit. I know he was probably a little bit banged up last year. I think he had a couple games where he got 0 points, but I don't know. I just don't love Frank Clark really where he's going at ADP wise.
Yeah, so he finished right behind Melvin Ingram and in front of Trey Flowers as defensive end in our RSO league. So you probably felt the burn, maybe because the expectations were a little higher. But in terms of finish, he was a DN2, so that's not bad. But I agree with you. That's not someone I've heard IDP analysts or players hype up at all this season, and I'm not quite sure why. I can't quite put my finger on it, Addie.
Yeah, I mean, I like him, but he's not someone I'm running out to overdraft, But if you look in Shark City, he wasn't. I'm totally fine with where he went. I think he went like back end, like in that 20 to 24 range.
Wow. See, I guess mentally
great.
I'm seeing him go higher.
He typically does. I mean, I think I'm with you. Like I remember seeing him going like 10 to 15. I feel like at the beginning of the off season, but yeah, people are kind of cooled on him. I'm fine with him if you get him there in that defensive line 19 to 20 range.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's talk about a guy I'm way more excited about, Willie Gay. Okay. Lock it in. He will be the linebacker 1 for this team. I don't care about Anthony Hitchens or Damian Wilson. Mm-hmm. This is going to be Willie Gay's linebacking core. I'm all in on Willie Gay.
Yep, I'm with you. Hitchens and Wilson, they're not good.
They're just Jags, man.
Yep.
And that's fine. But like Willie Gay is the best linebacker. Bobby, you've got some nice stats here from his time at Mississippi State.
Yeah, 99 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, which is nice, and 6 sacks in 28 games at Mississippi State. So Willie Gay can do it all. I'm really, really excited to watch him play this year. We probably really slept on him when it came to our rookie rankings. Shout out to Johnny the Greek.
There you go. So Juan Thornhill. I feel like you have a soft spot for Thornhill, Bobby.
I do. I love that Addie dropped him, and I was able to grab him last year. And
didn't have the room for him.
And hold on to me. But I will say about Juan Thornhill for this year, I'm not reaching right now to really grab him in drafts because that ACL was later in the year. I think there's a lot of people kind of telling him like, hey, take it slow. Don't try to start week 1. And I think you need to take that into account when you're drafting him. Don't get out there and grab Thornhill too early. Just wait on him and grab Matthew instead because I think he's going to be great for 2020.
Yeah, I didn't realize how late in the season that was. It was week 17 that he tore his ACL. So he had surgery on it January 14th.
Yeah.
So
he's a fade this year.
8 to 9 month recovery time. That puts him, even 8 months, which is very optimistic for an ACL recovery, puts him right at the start of the season. So
that's a good point too for like our league, Josh, and RSO, and we're going to have to really analyze this as we go through the season. But Juan Thornhill will 100% for me maybe be an IR spot because even when he comes back, what are you really getting out of him? So, we're going to have a bunch of these situations to where, guys are just going to have to be thrown on IR or drop. There's going to be a bunch of weird drops this year where you're going to feel uncomfortable dropping somebody due to COVID, and you're going to have to pick up a Tyrell Williams. It's going to be a weird year for that.
Yeah, so let's talk about the other safety there, the Honey Badger. I have him as safety 14. That's probably too low. I didn't realize he finished as safety 10. Again, we're a big play league, so that's kind of Honey Badger's specialty. But, safety 10 in 2019. Was very surprised when I went back and looked that up. And especially with Juan Thornhill not there as his safety mate. Yeah, I mean, I think it's another wheels up type of experience for Matthew this year.
Yeah, I mean, I like Honey Badger. I think that maybe his name value is going to take him higher than I'm willing to draft him. He only had 75 combined tackles last year, 2 sacks and 4 interceptions. Those aren't likely very sticky, but he's a playmaker. It's what he's been his whole career. So, I mean, maybe we can count on those. But yeah, he's usually just too expensive for me.
Yeah, it is a guy who's, I think, name value pushes him up the ranks a little bit. And safety's a really nice position this year.
Love watching him play. He's a great NFL, but
he was fun to watch because he played in that game against the Titans, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of fun. So, all right, Bobby, anything else to add here on the old Kansas City Chiefs?
Nah, we're good.
Let's move on to the Los Angeles Chargers, and let's hit the offense.
Chargers!
So, Shane Steichen, I'm going to go with Steichen as the offensive coordinator there. Tyrod Taylor is, for now, the starting quarterback. Austin Eckler, running back. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Joe Reed at wide receiver. Hunter Henry at tight end. Defensive coordinator Gus Bradley, former Jaguars coach, running a 4-3 scheme. We've got Linval Joseph and Justin Jones at defensive tackle, Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram at tight end, Denzel Perryman, Kenneth Murray, and Drew Tranquil at linebacker, Derwin James and Nasir Adderley at safety, and Chris Harris Jr. and Casey Hayward. I had a moment watching Hard Knocks where I thought, how in the hell did the Denver Broncos let Chris Harris Jr. get away to a division rival of all teams?
I don't know, but Keenan Allen's got to be thankful. Get rid of him.
Yeah.
Not have to deal with him anymore.
Have him on your own team now. That's much better. So let's start with Tyrod Taylor and Justin Herbert. Neither of the QBs really intrigue me for redraft. I'll scoop Herbert up in Dynasty because he's obviously the long-term starter there. But I think that it's just not a situation I'm interested in just because, I don't know, man. That just seems like a team that's really primed for a down season just because, some turnover at the quarterback position. Eckler, I think, is a fine, running back. But I don't know. Are you all higher on either of these quarterbacks?
It's going to be a weird year down there, I think. I don't know what to expect. I mean, I think Herbert's going to be the guy that they need to turn to. I mean, why? What's the point of
Tyrod? As soon as Herbert's ready, you put him in there. Just go.
I just think you just need to let him work through it because he's got great receivers right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, but also think he's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. I'm excited for Herbert. I think it's going to be his team. What do you guys think?
Yeah, Bobby, I'm curious your take here.
I mean, I'm with Adam. Why Tyrod? And even, I've kind of heard a little bit in the last week or so that they're saying, Tyrod's going to play the longer into the year. No, he's not. You're going to lose a couple games early. People are going to start chirping for Herbert. And then you're going to say, why did we just not start him week 1 to begin with? So I don't know. I'm Herbert's interesting in redraft just because of the same thing we're talking about with Drew Lock. His cast of weapons is pretty dangerous. I mean, some of these guys are going to make the plays for him. Austin Eckler, you've got one of the best pass catching running backs in the league. Not a whole lot you have to do when you're just dumping the ball off to him. So, I mean, I don't know. QB 2, maybe upside for Herbert.
Yeah, I was looking up his stats because I remember him being an athletic guy. I mean, he had in his career at Oregon, he didn't start the first 2 years. He only played 9 games and 8 games in 2016 and 17. But in 18, he played 13 games, and in 2019, he played 14 games. And so during the 4-year stretch of 44 games total, he had 560 rushing yards and 13 rushing touchdowns. So this is a guy with a nice rushing floor. So whenever he does get the job, I think I see him kind of like Josh Allen. We'll see if he has the ability to process the plays and has the accuracy you look for, but the rushing floor is what makes him an enticing fantasy option for me.
Yeah, and I think he has better touch than Josh Allen.
He does.
Not the arm strength of Josh Allen, but that's not always everything.
Yeah, I mean, a career 64% completion percentage at Oregon. That's really nice. 66.8% last year. So, that, that's anything, 65 around that area is pretty nice.
He looks like a bit of a dork.
He does. That hair. I'm sorry. I'm just not a fan of like the moppy hair he's got going on.
In regards to Josh Allen, I heard somebody on Twitter this week say that overthrowing somebody harder is still overthrowing them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of Josh Allen.
That's true. All right. Austin Eckler. I think the ADP has finally settled into a nice range for Eckler. He's running back 13 in PPR right now. I love him as my RB2. I don't really feel comfortable if he's my RB1. I think there is a 0% chance he finishes like he did last year as the RB4, which was nuts, with the Tyrod Herbert combination at quarterback. Bobby, what say you?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not the huge Eckler lover. I don't think I own him anywhere. I know Adam's big on Eckler, but how can you not be? Large, reception total from 2019 has got, Melvin Gordon's out of the way. We'll talk about somebody that I like here in a minute, but I think Eckler's fine. His ADP is great right now.
Yeah, I love Eckler. The question is, what's the quarterback situation going to look like? If it is going to be Herbert, does he like checking down? What's the offense going to look like?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's just the main concern. We don't know what it's going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't. That's the uncertainty is what worries me there. I don't like.
I love a lot of these players.
Yeah, I do.
I love Eckler. I love Keenan. I love Mike. So it could be we could be disappointed or we could be thrilled.
Could be. Justin Herbert could be really good.
Yeah,
that is in his range of outcomes.
Yeah, people need to be ready for that. He could be very good.
Yeah,
and this could be really good for potentially Mike Williams. I could see him taking a big boost.
Yeah, I'm not gonna bank on that, but it is a possibility. So it's gonna be a fun situation to watch there. I think Tyrod probably lasts like 3 games, maybe 4. That's kind of what happened in Cleveland with Baker Mayfield. Baker came in game 3, I think at halftime, and won the game there against the Jets. So
I just think Herbert's skill set maybe matches up better with Mike Williams, whereas Rivers, he matched up better with Keenan
and Eckler,
right?
Yes.
Just because he's just better at the intermediate and short throws. And I think Herbert's gonna, he's a young guy. He won't mind slinging it out to him, and Mike Williams knows how to go up and get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you do have to wonder if this is a team that Anthony Lynn is going to have the privilege of coaching next year, though, because again, not a team I'm penciling for a lot of wins, even in a division that has some question marks. I'm not lock solid sold on the Denver Broncos or Las Vegas Raiders yet, but this is a team I probably see like 5 or 6 wins. So I don't know. We'll see if Anthony Lynn.
You guys noticed the growth on Keenan's shoulder?
The growth.
You guys never noticed this?
What happens? Oh, he has a growth.
Just take a look at Keenan Allen next time.
Oh, I don't know about that.
When he's got his shirt off.
Oh,
take a look at his shoulders.
No, I don't.
See if anything pops out.
Not going to do that. That is very sick. Let's talk about Keenan, though. Or no, let's talk about your boy here, Bobby. I don't want to jump over Joshua Kelly.
No, I just want to make a quick note. I think Kelly could be interesting for this year. I'm not a big Justin Jackson guy. I think he's just a backup possibly to Eckler. But the thing that intrigues me most about Josh Kelly is he was good in college, but more so than that is Melvin Gordon's usage last year. I think pretty quickly you could see Joshua Kelly getting 8 to 12 touches probably a game. Melvin Gordon had, I believe, 8 rushing touchdowns last year. And also, Austin Eckler was like a top 5 RB. So RB4. I think there was room for both of these guys. And I think there's going to be room for Josh Kelly. I think he's a good runner as well.
Yeah, Joshua Kelly, definitely pay attention. I definitely like him more than Justin Jackson. I will say that.
You just like his damn name, you idiot.
I do like it when easily. Yeah, Keenan Allen. I can't stop thinking about the growth. Man,
you're gonna Google it. Google it. Come on, Google it.
Okay, I may. ADP right now, wide receiver 22. That's very nice. I like him, especially if you can get him as your wide receiver 3. But did you look at it, Bobby?
What in the world is that?
You need to stick a pin in that thing, Kanan. Drain it.
Kanan.
It looks like a bone. Is it just pus?
I don't know what it is. Some type of a cyst or something.
I'm a tiny alien about to pop out and start talking to me. I don't like it. So yeah, Keenan Allen. You obviously have Keenan in our main league. You love Keenan. That may be one of your favorite wide receivers.
I mean, what? Are you kidding me?
I love that beard with just a bald head. That's just a classic look.
Look at Keenan over here, everybody.
Looking fresh.
Yeah, we love Keenan Allen. He's a route running god and an absolute savant. And I love his bald head.
One of the few guys that can pull off the hoodie underneath the shoulder pads.
Yeah, I love that. It's like, dude, you got to be hot. Come on. I know you look cool, but you got to be hot, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's to help. It's to give a little more cover for his shoulder.
Yeah, there you go. Just get it drained, Keenan.
Just get it drained. Mike Williams, hit me with the Mike Williams take here. I know you've always been a fan. High draft capital.
A fan. I think he gets a little slept on.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got. I think he's got great upside. He just is just one of these guys that just goes up and gets it. And yeah, I mean, he's. I don't think he's going to be getting worse. He's still young. He's still like what 25, 26.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the uncertainty at the quarterback. Yeah, we hope it's not Tyrod Taylor. And we just don't know what the flow of the offense is going to look like. I personally think that they're going to be behind and having to play catch up a lot. So I think that's going to maybe be good for these receivers. But again, don't really know what to expect. This is one of the hardest teams to project.
Because you just don't know. Anytime there's quarterback uncertainty, it kind of throws some cold water on the weapons.
Yep.
Bobby, are you interested at all in Mike Williams?
Always, Josh. Always.
All right.
He's a Clemson boy. You have to be.
All right. Yeah, sure. So Joe Reed, you got a Joe Reed take here, Bobby. I love it.
I like Joe.
I don't know. Joe Reed and KJ Hill are just interesting to me. Both rookies. Joe Reed, a little bit bigger, 6'2", KJ Hill, I think he's a little bit quicker, 6'1", 198. I think the thing to pay attention to about Joe Reed is I've seen some I've seen some Desmond King trade block inquiries here lately. And not only is that because he's been on the actual trade block, but, I think that Joe Reed returned kickoffs and punts when he was at Virginia. And I think that could be something that possibly he takes over for Desmond King. So if you've got somebody who's trying to sell you Desmond King, there might be a reason behind that. And then KJ Hill's just kind of interesting, possibly if he could earn some slot work there with Herbert. But I don't know, just some camp news to kind of pay attention to.
Just camp stuff. Like we've talked about Hunter Henry, tight end 9. How is that possible? The tight end landscape is so stupid. Like it's just a crapshoot. Like just take 25 guys, throw them in a bag, shake it up, and just pick. You've got like your top 3 or 4 that you like.
I love that.
I mean, who knows? Like you could name.
Take 25 guys, put them in a bag, take your pick.
You gotta coin that. You promised me.
I will when you write the Grown Man Strength article for the website.
It's gonna be glorious day when that happens, boys.
Glorious. And the handcuff. You're the handcuff.
You're the handcuff. Prepare thy servers.
Like they have to prepare their servers to read it.
I just needed to get the thy, and I don't know, Josh.
I don't know server talk. You do the dials and the doodads, Josh. All right, Bobby, do we have to talk about these defensive tackles? I really don't care.
No, we got to talk about Linval Joseph for a second. He's interesting. He's good tackles. Yeah, Minnesota boy. He should help out.
Just doing that because Bobby's or Addie's a Minnesota fan.
No, I could care less about that. He should help out Bosa and Ingram at least.
Okay, sure. So yeah, let's get to Bosa and Ingram. So looked into Bosa a little bit, 86% of snaps, DN2 in our RSO league. I've been putting him below Nick Bosa in my head all offseason. I'm not sure that's the right move, though. I don't know where I'm coming down right now. I'm kind of shook when I actually looked into it. I know Nick Bosa scored pretty close on fewer games. But I don't know. Man, it's good to be in the Bosa family right now.
Yeah, they're both great. I mean, if you're looking at it from a pressures perspective, Nick Bosa actually had more pressures.
Did he really?
He had 80 pressures. Joey Bosa only had 72. And however, Joey Bosa had more snaps too. So Nick Bosa is a little young bull.
That's what I'm saying. That's probably why I have Nick Bosa higher in my mind. He did a little more with a little less opportunity. So, Yeah, but man, you get
They're
either of
close.
those guys
They're
as
close. Who
your
cares?
DN1, you're fine.
They're going right after each other. I mean, who cares?
Yeah.
One goes, you just take the other one, and you're fine.
How many team names out there this year are going to be double Bosas?
Not enough.
We
you
had
say
you
not
guys,
enough?
Not enough.
We had that account. Did you guys see that account that got created? Thick Thighs Bosa.
Who is this person?
I have no idea, but they were familiar with the show. They were like talking a little bit about the show. They had a few. I think they mentioned the most handsome.
Is that you, Boo Bam? Did you make a Joey's Thick Thighs account?
I don't know, but gave us some chuckles. Thick Thighs Bosa.
I love it. We are always gazing at the male anatomy, especially in the NFL. Bobby, I liked your stat here on Joey Bosa.
Yeah, always had double-digit sacks in years where he played at least 10 games. And the other thing for Joey Bosa is he had that weird plantar fasciitis in 2018 or whatever it was. It was good to see him. It was good to see him play a lot in 2019. I was a little bit worried about his foot coming back, but looks like he's healthy. So good for the Bosas. Are we done with the Bosas? Is there another one coming?
Yeah, it's Tommy Bosa. he's got a car dealership in Jersey. He'd love to sell you one of the units off the lot. Just come on in; he'll treat you real nice.
Tommy Bosa.
This one's a big lib, though.
Yeah, he's a big lib, unlike his brother. We don't know what Joey's political leanings are.
He's neutral.
He's
libertarian.
Yeah, there you go. He's in the Green Party. He is in the Green Party now that he got paid.
Yes, sir. Money talks.
$1 bajillion. Thanks, Addie, for that.
Yeah,
Needed that commentary. Melvin Ingram just gets slept on because of Bosa. DN15 last year. I have him as my DN15 in my rankings. I expect another solid season. Only played 68% of snaps, which I thought was kind of interesting. So what if that number goes up? Could we see him even crack the top 12 here? I think it's in his range of outcomes, Addie.
This was Melvin Ingram?
Melvin Ingram, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Man, really liked that introduction on Hard Knocks.
Right?
That was pretty nice.
The three-wheeler. And
then coming out rapping.
He had the, what do you call it, the multi-purpose kind of like bandana that he had for his mask.
It was a nice appearance.
Very cool.
So, yeah, I mean, he's a beast. I've always been a big fan of Melvin Ingram. Does he go by the third? The third, I think, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's an awesome player. That's a fun team. Also, we'll see what Tillery looks like this year. There was a lot of hype coming out about him, and he didn't really live up to expectations. But he's a young guy. Should take another step. Should help that line.
Adam, you should know better. Josh doesn't want to talk about defensive tackles.
That's right.
That's right. Sorry.
We don't talk about Denzel Perryman. Mike Wallard is convinced that Perryman has like nude pictures of the Chargers coaching staff, which is right. He keeps getting employed here as one of their starting linebackers. Bobby, I'll let you start us off because you were the guy I think who was highest on Kenneth Murray before us, the two of us were. So kick us off here with the Kenneth Murray love.
Yeah. So talking about our boy Mike Wohlert, he believes that Murray's going to start on the weak side, on the side with our boy Melvin Ingram. And I don't know, Murray's just intriguing to me. He's got his head together. He led a great life in college as far as like, I think helping, even still at the house, like raise some of his siblings and everything. I don't know. I think Murray can maybe fix this whole Gus Bradley problem. At least that's my hope out there in Los Angeles. So, the next guy that we're going to talk about as well, the more I dug into him a little bit, I think there's two intriguing linebackers to be had here in Los Angeles for this year, not named Denzel Perryman.
Yeah. I think we all were like, oh, poor Kenneth Murray landing with the Chargers.
Yeah.
They've never had a good linebacker. He's doomed.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, he is already their best linebacker by far. He's going to be on the field from day one, and he's a top 24 guy in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Agree. Love me some Kenneth.
Kenneth. Got a good heart, as Addie was saying to me.
Sir.
Real good heart.
Salt of the earth.
We mentioned Drew.
Love his character.
We mentioned Drew Tranquil. Derwin James, kind of like Patrick Mahomes. What do we need to say? He's the DB1 for me right now, especially after the Jamal Adams trade. He's tier one, number one.
Agree right there. You touched on Tranquil. Actually, I kind of like Tranquil a little bit. I'm interested
Bobby
in him.
was saying, yeah.
I mean, it's he could be fine. You never know.
Yeah.
Bobby, did you mention the stat here about his scoring?
11 points per game over the last 8 games of the season. So
yeah,
that's interesting.
That's nice for who should be an LB2 now. I do agree. I think this is going to be Tranquil and Kenneth Murray's linebacking core for their foreseeable future.
And that's a fun defense, right?
It is.
That's and They brought in Chris Harris, like we mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So it is. That's why I struggle projecting them so much because, I like a lot of those pieces of that offense. It's literally just the quarterback. I mean, because we like the pieces of the offense. We like this defense, but just that quarterback. That's what makes it all weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that offensive line, which we now know is just complete butt.
Yeah,
that doesn't help. Bad offensive
shout out
line.
Forrest Lamp.
Is he still on the team? Please double check that. One of the highest draft picks in Western Kentucky University history just had terrible luck with knee injuries. I hope that he gets his chance.
He still is.
Still is. Okay, good. Is he projected to start? Do we know? That'd be great. I think he was inactive most games last season because I would always kind of check just out of curiosity, and he was on there. Unfortunately, more games than he wasn't. But let's see here, Bobby. You also had a note here about Desmond King.
Yeah. I can't even find where it's at now, Josh. I did have a note on Desmond King.
You said he's your favorite to replace Adrian Phillips, but you've heard trade rumors about him.
Yeah, I think we had kind of touched on that earlier about his kick return and punt return stuff. Just, I don't know. Shout out Fantasy Guru Bros. Somebody's offering Desmond King. Be wary right now.
Nasir Adderley, another guy I'm curious in. I liked him a lot. He could be the free safety in that defense. Yeah, they're a fun team.
Yeah, I want
fun pieces.
I want to touch on Derwin too, because I even looked at it a little bit late last year about when Derwin returned at his points, and I was kind of like, Derwin really didn't do a whole lot. So I look back to his rookie year, the first 6 games of Derwin's rookie year, 18 points per game, 36 tackles, 3.5 sacks, and also he had 3 interceptions in 2018. So now Derwin and Buddha stand alone in my safety tier 1. Jamal has seen himself out.
Now he could easily work himself right back in.
Nope, he's gone.
Safety one in Seattle. Yeah, you're right. I'm going to listen to Greg Williams. So Forrest Lamp is the backup right guard right now behind Trey Turner, who they acquired from Carolina, which tells me they do not like Forrest Lamp as the starter in that position. Yikes. So, yeah. So that does it for the AFC West preview. We try to keep it to an hour and 15, and we're at an hour and 50. So just pretend I said an hour and 50 when I originally said that and not 15, and you won't be disappointed.
Yeah.
It's pretty good, guys.
Me and Johnny canceled tonight because we knew this was going to run long.
We knew it was going to go long. Once we hit 20 minutes on the first team, I was like, oh, goodness, we're going to be pushing 11:30 by the time we get out of here.
So be on the lookout for that next week. We will be dropping our pilot, and then we'll be with you all season long.
All season long, making some money, Addie.
Making some Skrilla
bills.
Maybe ruining some lives.
Definitely ruining some lives, but
it'll be entertaining.
This pod's already done that. Our lives are in shambles right now. We don't talk about it that much.
I'm doing great, baby. Never been better.
Sleeping in this shed. All right, Bobo. Hey, thank you for doing the prep and the doc tonight, Bobo. We really appreciate it.
Hope you enjoyed it. Never again.
Never again. All right, y'all. Well, we will be coming back at you guys with the NFC West preview. As we mentioned, Dr. Lizas will be joining us. Bobby, we don't have to spend a whole lot of time on your Rams. We can just blow right past them if you want.
That's fine. I don't care.
We're going to wrap up this divisional preview series, and then before the season kicks off, we're going to have a week 1 preview with Mike Wollert. I don't even think Mike knows that yet, but we've had it on the books.
He'll be here
for months now. Mike will be here. Be a lot of fun. We'll get you ready for your week 1 matchups. That'll be Thursday, and that'll be the start of our new schedule for the season. Preview show Thursday night. You got the Thursday night game on. You got Big 3 pod dropping probably right around the time that game wraps up. And then Sunday, we'll be bringing you the recap show.
We're going to be in front of you all year long, baby.
You're going to be extremely sick of us by the time 2020
dreaming about us. You're thinking about us constantly.
That's right.
The way we want it.
Shout out Ray from Taiwan. He gave us a comment here on Periscope. Says he'll see us on Sunday his time because it is a Sunday draft, even though it's on Saturday for us. It is Sunday in Taiwan.
That's right. Yeah, we got our listener league draft. First ever IDP auction we've
ever done.
We've never done it. So
yeah, we have our RSO, which is an auction, but it's much different because it's a contract league. Right. This is the first standard auction league we've ever had. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Excited.
Well, Fun's a relative term.
Bobby, did you have some Mandarin Chinese you're going to try to speak here?
Yeah, Dahan Dajao Leza Taiwan, Ray. I remembered you, buddy.
Everyone in Taiwan just drove off the road with that.
Didn't Ray say that his children were just like dying laughing whenever they heard that?
Yes, absolutely.
The old country Taiwan. You don't hear it often, but when you do.
Yeah, he said, I want more love for my Bolts, Josh. If Justin Herbert can come in and play, man.
Ray, well, I'm excited. I like the upside. I think people are sleeping. I think people are wanting to doubt Herbert for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Your boy's optimistic, and also I've got a lot of Chargers, so
I was going to say maybe some bias here. But rookie quarterbacks, it's just hard. You know, they don't always take off that first year. Maybe Herbert could be the exception. We'll see. That's the fun part about football is we get to find out.
Hey, Ray said Exy.
That's good. I was going to say Zai, which sounds more German. I'm sure it's like DZ. Exy. Read all about it. All right, we'll see you guys next week with the NFC West preview. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Go check out the Big 3 Network pods. Go follow along with Shark City. We'll be coming back at you guys with an update from the Listener League draft. Y'all take care. We love you guys. We'll see y'all next week.
Give us some money.